Page 178, The Merry Farmer. It's a very famous tune by Robert Schumann. A lot of people play it. It's a lot of fun to play, but it's tricky. And I'd like to talk about it. The melody, most of the time, is in the left hand. The right hand gets it sometime. But I want to talk about, let's just take the hands one at a time and start with the right hand. This is in the key of F major. And at the beginning of this, you have this one chord, or the F chord, in various inversions, going up. Staccato, wrist staccato. They give you the dynamics here. I'll talk about dynamics in a minute. Just use the wrist staccato for now. And then this 5 chord, and it's an inversion. They only give you the F on the first one, not the second one, because if you'll notice, the left hand is playing an F. That's part of the melody. So the right hand's got to get out of the way. So it's, you only get 2 notes on the second one, and then back to the 1 chord. Next line, just these are primary chords. Take the second measure, B natural. Then you get down to the last line on page 178. Now the right hand gets the melody. It's here. That's what we want to hear. So if you can, you need to bring that out. So don't let these other notes get in the way. Keep them soft. So the weight, most of it's going to be on the upper part of the hand, the little finger and the ring finger. Hold it down and play the staccatos. I'm just this. Then next notes, and then just a bump bump. And then the C is melody. Now the last measure of that page. It's slurred with staccato. So what they are, they're just separated. This. And I play the both notes the same. Staccato, separate them. And the fingering I use is 5, 4, 3, 2, 3. I just follow that fingering. That's the melody. I can feel it better if I do that. They go 5, 5, 5. Ugh. So if your hand's big enough, 5, 4. That's 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, and then 3 for that. And that's what I recommend. Going on, 2. The melody is still in the right hand, and we want 2 because we're setting up for what's coming. We need to be in this position. So it's here. At the top of page 179, it's here. Gotta hold that melody down, then go up. Hold the melody down while you play those notes, and then the second line, or the second measure, this is one of the tricky parts for me. The melody's the top note. That's what's important. That's what we want to hear. But these chords, we want to throw in the chords. Why not? So it's B flat, and then the chord. How do I say this? The F and the B flat are staccato. The D is not. So so get off of the staccato. That. Slowly, it's not quite so painful, but when you speed it up, it gets tricky. Going on, back to the chords, because now the melody's in the left hand again, blah blah, until you get to the last note of the second line. And now the right hand gets the melody again. It's like it was before. You've already had this. Now, I've seen editions, depends on what edition you're using, where on this third line down, second measure, I talked about this over on page 178, this measure. I've seen editions where they leave the melody legato and they just make the other notes staccato. I have a habit of doing that, so I'm going to try and separate them because this edition says to separate them. we'll see what happens. I don't know. And then you've had the rest of this. It's the same as what we've already had. That's the right hand. See, it's a piece of cake. It's not hard, right? Now, left hand, starting at the beginning. The left hand gets the melody, and watch this fingering, because these first 4 notes in the left hand, the C, F, A, and C, that's a chord. It's a 1 chord, but they've taken the C and extended it. So it's like the second version of the 1 chord extended up to an octave. My point is, this is the fingering. Use this fingering. It's good at fingerings. And then you can come down, because now you're going to do this chord. Now they say thumb on here. I use 3rd finger because it's the end of a phrase and I can lift up and move. But if you wanted to put thumb on it, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't like doing it, so I use 2nd finger and then I move. Now, 2nd line, 1st measure. Let's look at this. You have here, they say 2-1. It's okay if you can reach this, but if you can't, then use the other fingering, then parentheses, the 1, and slide off. So it's, I slide off because it's more fun for me. I enjoy doing it. So that's the fingering that I use. You just have to be careful when you slide off to make sure you're in rhythm. So you have to plan the slide so the A plays at the right time. And that's the basic melody. Then you get down to the bottom, the right hand gets it, so the left hand has to be quiet. It's a harmony to the melody. Because the melody's up here. See, so keep the left hand a little softer, but it's nice to hear this. However, they've stuck some other notes in there. Look at this measure. This is measure 9. You see the 9 with a box? That's measure number. 9 is here. And while you hold that E down, you got to play these staccato notes. The right hand's doing it too. You're doing it together, isn't that nice? And then lift up for the phrase. And then again, just separate it. So both hands together here on this line. This is tricky. I'm going to start with the pickup note, the last note on the previous line of this here, and then it's here. That. Yeah, work that out. Just get it. It's not impossible to play, well, duh. But it is a little tricky. It takes a little practice to get that. Because this is a happy, fast little thing. It's animated. It says allegro animato, which is animated fast. This is just a fun piece. So you got to be able to move. So you're not going to start out at this speed. And then get down to this part and go here. I've heard so many beginners play this like that, and it's just, you feel for them. Because this part they're struggling with, and the other part they're having fun with. And I've been there, I've been through it. It's just really a struggle. You got to take the hard part, this part, and however fast you can play that is how fast you play the top. Don't switch speeds. So when you're trying to figure out in your head how fast you're going to go, use the hard part. Go through that in your head. 1 and 2. And that's how fast you play that, because that's how fast you can play the hard part. It's the way it should work. You would sound so much better if you would do that, other than speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing down. Let's go on. Top of page 179. We're still in the left hand. Again, the right hand has melody here, so it's here. And the second measure of the first line there for the left hand is not hard because you just have this chord. Right? It's like it was at the beginning. It's actually doubling the melody because you're in octaves. Is all. So for the left hand, it's easy now. It's the right hand that's got the boogers. Then going on, you had this before in the second line. Now, second line, second measure. This one doesn't work for me on a 1/5 here because I want to connect the melody. It's in the left hand. Starting at the beginning of that line here on measure 13. That's what I'm listening for, and that's what's got to be legato. I can't do that if I use a 5/1 on that chord. It's this. There's a little bit of silence in there. I don't like that. So I finger it, not 5/1, but 5/2. As uncomfortable as that is, I do that, and then I substitute the 1 immediately. As I play the right hand, I substitute. Now I got 5/1. Slowly, the full second line is this way. Because then I can connect the melody. So the tricky part is doing here. Can you substitute these fingers while holding that? I do it when I play the chord in the right hand. You don't have to, you can do it immediately. You get the same thing at the bottom. The last line I do the same fingering. And the rest of this for the left hand you've had, just a repeat of what you've had. So again, I don't feel a play with me is appropriate here because you got to be able to read all this. If you can read all this, you don't need me to tell you you're playing right or wrong notes, I hope. You just listen very carefully and hopefully you can find recordings of it. Just give you some ideas here on putting them together. On the dynamics, I don't like the way they're doing the dynamics again because now they've got two. They got one for the left hand and one for the right hand, and I don't like that. They need to put the F, the forte, in the middle of the staff, and that's it, because dynamics apply to the melody. Everything else has to be under it. So the right hand has to be soft anyway. So, and you experiment on how soft or how loud. So how loud do I want it? It's not as loud as I can play, it's just loud. And then the right hand has to be under it. Then you get to the second line, second measure, you're coming down a little bit because you're ending a phrase, you're ending a sentence, you're kind of ending a thought. So it's here. And then you take off again, loud. And if you do that really well, that's very effective. So that second line. Then on the third line at the end, it's the same thing. You're ending a thought, you're coming down, you're ending a phrase. And now you're starting a new phrase, but not loud again, because this is a different melody, it's a different thought. Now they give you one dynamic. I think they've put it a little closer to the left hand than the right, so they're meaning it for the left hand. It doesn't go to the left hand. It goes to the melody, and the melodies right now is in the right hand. And then the last note of the page, you're back to your original theme and you're loud again for the melody. And then you're coming off. At the end of the second line, you're getting softer again. And then we're back to this medium loud thing. That's the right hand, that's the melody that's medium loud. Everything else is under it. Now you're not coming down. And that's an important distinction. Because usually in music, the last time they present a musical theme or something, they will alter it in some way. It might alter it at the beginning, they might alter it at the end. Some way it's different. Here, it's the dynamics that's different. You're not coming down. You're staying loud. to come down. No retard, no slowing down. The whole thing, it keeps its energy throughout. You're just getting softer. Let's talk about the last measure. I'm getting picky here. In the left hand you have a quarter note. The last note in the left hand is a quarter note. And then you have a staccato eighth note. For the next beat, it is an eighth note. It's a half a beat, but it's an eighth note. But the left hand's done. It's a rest. So it's... So you're ending it with that, and that's not staccato. Like so. It's a fun piece. Try this out. You can have, this is something that people enjoy listening to. So this is a good one to learn to play for people if you can pick up the speed where it's sort of fun. You don't have to play it as fast as I just demonstrated. You take it at your speed and use a metronome to gradually build it up. And you just well memorize it while you're at it if you can. Some people memorize more easily than others, but focus on the melody and what it's doing, and everything else supports the melody. So at the beginning, if these chords, they're just providing harmony and rhythm for the melody. You can play this slowly. Have fun with it. It doesn't have to go super duper fast.